All right, everybody. I think we're up and running, or we're getting up and running with tonight's stream. Tonight's stream will be maybe a shorter one. We'll just sort of see how it goes. I wanted to show you a few things tonight based on your recent feedback to me about editing and things like that. Waiting for you guys to get in. Some people are coming in now. And yep, Hensel Holtz, you are the first for sure. I'm getting my chat up here, getting it where I want it. All right, everybody's coming in here. You've got Hensel Holtz, you've got Sarah Martinez, you've got Hensel Holtz. I hope you're doing well today. JJ Zone is here. Miss T is here from Chick-fil-A. That's pretty neat. Daniel Matt Davinroy is here. Midnight Kitten, third longest running channel member, is here. Sarah Martinez, hello there. Scabo Cat asking questions already, which is fine. Ed Netty, I do have an interest because other people have recommended it, and so I will get to it. Henry Sullivan's here, a resident Gordy expert. Joseph Johnson, another channel member, is here. Nice to see you. We've got Random Account 21, caught another live stream, and I think this is kind of the best time to do it. Maybe like early evening, but not quite afternoon. And if you're on the west coast of the U.S., it's still kind of late afternoon, kind of catches everybody. So you've got Cappy says, wow, sweet office. It's not exactly an office, but for right now it is. We've got Mark Page. We've got Hensel Holst. And I don't know if Hensel Holst is joking or Holst is joking or not. He says, I just got back from having the never-ending pasta bowl because I was joking last time about the Sonic movie and the part that I thought was funny. So I seeing a bunch of other questions. What I want to do on this stream, though, before we stop, is I want to show you. You notice this window is up here. I have some videos here to show you what the editors did with your feedback for the editing style that you all were telling me about. So I will get to that here in a bit. First, I'm going to read some of your messages as you're coming in. Mark Page says, good evening, Brandon. Hensel Holtz with the never-ending pasta bowl. JJ Zone, JJ's Zone, would you rather be stranded with Mr. Howard or Principal Jendrake? That's a tough one because they are both awful. I think I would have to go with Jendrake. Maybe I could talk some sense into him. He's not quite as bad as Mr. Howard, but they're both terrible. A Fred fan says, have you reacted to the SpongeBob episode, I Was a Teenage Gary? No, but it is on my list to do. Midnight Kitten says, good evening. Hope you're having a good day. I am having a good day. Thank you. I hope you're having a good day. Random Account 21 says, I'm in Kentucky, a few states up from Georgia, East Coast, I think. I'm not sure if you're not sure if you're on the East Coast or if you're not sure if I'm on the East Coast, but we both are. Rolling Thunder says, hey, Brandon, hope you're doing well. I was a channel member at one point, but I had to update some card information, and now I can't seem to join. That's really weird. I'll look at that. I don't think there's a reason that you can't join unless you got, like, blocked by the mods, but you're here, so obviously you haven't. We had an issue earlier or the other day where some people got blocked that weren't supposed to have been blocked, and so we undid that. Isaac Animalogo says, can you also react to films recommended to you like Mitchell's versus Machines? I've never heard of that, and yes, I can do films. I've done a lot of films on this channel, or some, let's say, but a lot of people have to recommend it. Dogwood, hello from China. If that's true, you're obviously using a VPN. So I'm curious as to whether you speak Mandarin or not. So maybe you can rate my Mandarin. Let me know. Salty06, thank you for modding. Tyler Caswell, how's your day so far? My day is good. Hope yours is good. Undertaker Lover is here. Mark Page says, Brandon, so again, I saw a bit of your SpongeBob pressure reaction was muted, and was it because of some copyright issues? Yeah, it was. If you've watched other streamers or other YouTubers, they will tell you, and I've learned this for myself the hard way, music is actually worse than video when it comes to copyright. So, pressure. There was some like audio in the video, and I made this video like months and months ago, but either go through the long process of fighting the copyright for the entire video, or I can just cut out or mute that one part of the music. So that's what I chose to do. Sadly, the Band Geeks video that I have, the music at the very end is now muted. Same reason. That's why I'm kind of careful about the audio. When I first did My Little Pony, testing 1 2 3, for a solid month it was locked in a copyright dispute, and it had nothing to do with the video. There was this little like sound effect 2/3 of the way through the video that was like 4 or 5 seconds long, a little jingle or something, and it banned or it blocked the whole video because of that one thing. So audio is the worst. All right, let me read some messages here. I like to read messages. I was on a live stream earlier, tell you a little secret, and I paid. I had a super chat, and they didn't even read it. They didn't read any chat messages. They were just talking, kind of oblivious. So I like to read chat messages. All right, but I can't always read all of them. Shageta says, might as well have something calming to listen to while I'm playing a rage-inducing game like Crash Bandicoot 4. So you got me going, and then you've got Crash Bandicoot 4. Okay, that's a contrast, isn't it? A Fred fan says, I'm a goofy goober. I bet he could sing the song probably. JJ Zone says, would you rather work at the Yu Yu Hakusho school, Miss Trunchbull School, or the school from Max Keeble's Big Move? Wow. Probably Max Keeble's Big Move, because you have somewhat of a structure. Second to that would be Yu Yu Hakusho, but the teachers are just straight up corrupt. And the principal, what's his name? Nagi? I forgot. Something like that. He at least tries, but he like kind of pushed the teachers around and got physical with them. I didn't feel great about that. But then Miss Trunchbull School, the school of, I forgot what the name of the school was, but it was awful. I mean, the Chokey, you don't get much worse than that. Henry Sullivan says, and I'm already falling behind, if they ever do a principal support like teacher support, would you do it? Yes, I would do it. So if you have a connection at Wired Magazine, let me know. Key says, and by the way, Key, you were blocked too for some reason. I think we had a couple accidental blockings, but just watch what you say on here. Why do some students act surprised when they see their teacher or principal outside of school? Yeah, I don't know. It's like they think that they're not people or they don't exist outside of school. That does kind of happen. Brian Nussbaum says, do you ever have students like Ned and Cookie who eat all their candy for fundraising? I've never seen that before in real life. Harrison Smith says hello. Waluigi says hello. Tyler Caswell says, my day's been kind of bad. I'm sorry to hear that. Dogwood says, I can speak some Mandarin. I'm from Texas, though. Okay, some Mandarin. Probably way, way more than me. Luke Smith says, can you believe Halloween is almost here? I cannot. Luke Smith says, the magic of copyright, indeed. Undertaker Lover says, Texans unite. Texans got a lot of attention from when I did the Texas episode of SpongeBob, and also King of the Hill, just sort of in general. Let's see. Brian Nussbaum, who's worse, Loomer or Troy McGinty? Troy McGinty, I would say, is worse. He's just way more cruel and brutal with his bullying. And Loomer has his okay moments. You know, he's not quite as bad. Luke Smith, who's your favorite staff member of Ned's Declassified? I'd probably have to go with Mr. Wright on that one, although I haven't seen him in a while on the show. Cappy says, I was very surprised when Band Geek's song wasn't muted. I think it is muted at this point, like toward the end of it. Unfortunately, I believe that's the case. Ricky Rax, you're back. Sorry about that. I know you accidentally got blocked by someone as well, but you're back. Hank the Tank is here, modding for us. Nice to see you. Random Account 21 says, do you plan on reacting to Henry Danger at some point? It doesn't have any teenage drama or anything like that. It has a lot of school and teacher scenes. Yeah, a few people have recommended it. There's still a few more shows ahead of it, but yes, I do plan on doing it. Absolutely. Midnight Kitten. I have seen that with other YouTubers. One example that got flagged was the coin collection in Mario. And I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure if you mean like the coin sound effect that you have. But yeah, audio is worse than video, believe it or not. Okay, Local Nomad. How many neckties do you own? Probably like 20. But I tend to wear the same several over and over again. Fred Fan says, I'm a goofy goober, yeah. Alex Gillis says, hello, sir. Greetings from SoCal, Southern California. Hank the Tank says, you're a goofy goober, yeah. Fred Fan says, you're a goofy goober, yeah. It's funny how when I make SpongeBob video reactions, certain people will, before they even watch it, they'll comment on it, and they'll just start responding to each other, quoting like the entire video, which, hey, I don't mind. Let's see. Mark Page says, and actually, like you just said, Band Geeks had to be muted. But anyways, do you like Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 3 due to the Patrick part? Yes, you may have heard me say that before. I do like that. It made me laugh a lot. Harrison Smith says, music industry is more litigious than the film industry due to the complexity of copyright and multiple owners having rights to the same music and which properties they can be used on. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Undertaker Lover says, what is some of your favorite SpongeBob lines when he speaks in a different type of voice? If you mean, the only one I can think of at the moment is the whole monitor kind of voice. Not bad, right? So, and then I'm trying to think of other ones. I can't think of other ones really, but that's the main one that comes to mind. A Fred Fan says, we're all goofy goobers. Alan Stamper says, hello, Mr. Brandon. You should watch Freedom Riders. It's a good school movie. Okay. Harrison Smith says, Takanaka. That was it from Yu Yu Hakusho. Brian Nussbaum says, can you react to Matilda the musical? I certainly can if enough people ask for it. Hank the Tank says, goofy, goofy goober. Yeah, they're singing the song. Fred Fan and Hank the Tank are singing the song together. Brian Hicks says, Crunchum Elementary. Perfect Angel says Crunchum Hall. Tyler Caswell says, now you're good. JJ Zone says, it just loaded a bunch of messages. JJ Zone says, would you rather spend a day with Ned, Mose and Cookie, or SpongeBob and Patrick? I don't know. That's a tough choice. I would probably have to go with Ned and his friends just because SpongeBob and Patrick are so crazy. And some of the things they like to do while they are sort of innocent don't really appeal quite so much to me. Maybe that makes me like Squidward. I don't know. Let's see. Hank the Tank, Beavis also ate all the candy they sold on that show. Shigeta says, on top of that, the New York Yankees are playing. Harrison Smith says, I saw one of my teachers outside at Costco after I graduated high school. Let's see. Luke Smith says, Mandarin is a hard language to learn in the West. It is. JJ Zone, who is worse, Dobbs or McGinty? I would say McGinty is worse because, I mean, Dobbs intimidates, but he doesn't outright hurt people or go to the extent that McGinty did, but they're both horrible. Hank the Tank says, why do you think Texas tends to get a lot of attention in these animated series? I don't know. I think it's just because a lot of people worldwide know Texas. There's a lot of videos I've seen of various people in other countries taking a quiz, and like they'll show them a United States map, and then they will ask them to identify all the states. And really, everybody knows New York, everybody knows California, and most people know Texas. So I suspect that is why. Brian Nussbaum, just a criticism. I wasn't a fan of how you were in a circle during your Ned's reaction. Yes, we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about that on this stream, and I'm going to show you on this window here. I will show you some examples of different versions of that and see kind of what we think is best, okay? So stick around so you can weigh in. Let's see. Looking at the chat. Ricky Rax, don't worry, I forgive you for blocking him. I didn't block you, but someone did. Fred's fan says, Texas reminds me of a squirrel that lives in the sea. Yep, me too. Luke Smith says, there is a Sesame Street episode that has never been aired once finished before. I'm sure that's true. Wendy Indy says, yo, Brandon, do you like seafood? I do like seafood, particularly certain fish, grouper, tilapia, and also crab. Not so much the crab legs, but like the fillets. Really good stuff. Hank the Tank, Fred, who would that be? You're talking to Fred. Ricky Rax, do you like Korean barbecue or sushi? I've not had either one of those a lot. I've had the sushi that you get in regular grocery stores. I don't know if you consider that real sushi or not, but I like it okay. I just like the basic ones, like the California roll and stuff like that. A Korean barbecue, I actually haven't had too much of that. Well, Luigi, would you rather burst lip or biting your tongue? I guess lip, although both of those sound awful. Midnight Kitten says, yeah, the sound effect, which is sad because I loved songs of SpongeBob. Yeah, like we were saying with the audio copyright issues. And I'm going to try to get towards the bottom of the chat, and then we'll look at these video edits and see what you all think about it. Let's see. Scrolling up, Luke Smith says, Korean, Japanese, and Russian are hard to learn too. Yeah, I watched this whole documentary one time on the Defense Language Institute, which is where if you're in the military and you learn languages, that's where you go. And they said that the hardest languages there were Korean, Mandarin, I think, and Arabic, I think was the other one. Okay. Scrolling up in the chat. Brian Nussbaum asks, who's the worst teacher in Ned's? I think, who would that be? The worst teacher in Ned's Declassified. I'm just going through them in my head. There aren't that many of them, and only a few have gotten featured lately. Coach Durga's getting a lot of attention. Mr. Powell, Mr. Powell, I liked him up until competition because his competition, in my opinion, was so bad. Has that one published yet? Maybe it hasn't. I don't think it has. But I'm not crazy. He's okay, but he's probably the worst. Let's see. Perfect Angel. Hello, happy Wednesday. There is an episode of Arthur where the teacher, Mr. Return, stays at Arthur's house after his roof collapses. Hope you react to that sometimes. Thanks for the live. Thank you for being a channel member. I think were you gifted one on the last one or one of the last streams? I think that was really cool. We got a lot of gifted memberships. Hank the Tank says, it's not my wallet. Mark Page says, yeah, in Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 3, Patrick and Man Ray had the conversation from the wallet. Hank the Tank says, I've waited my whole life to join the Krusty crew. Manly SpongeBob voice. Yep. Mr. Knuckles, do you like Doritos? They're all right. I like certain flavors. I like the ranch myself. Brian Nussbaum, if you do a tier ranker of Ned's, would you include the random extra teacher who finally got a line? Probably not, because he doesn't really do anything for him to be rated. He just sort of stands around in the background most of the time. Shageta says, so I'm trying to earn 100 platinum trophies on PlayStation. It's what you get every trophy in the game, and I'm at 99, and I saved Crash 4 for 100 because I wanted something challenging. Okay. Hensel Holst says SpongeBob and Patrick, answering that other question. Fred's fan, who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Yes. Cappy, can't help but ask, but if there is one more Yu Yu Hakusho episode you plan on doing? No, but I'm open to it. It just didn't get a whole lot of views, although fans of that particular show were really excited about it. Hank the Tank says, Squidward Principal reacts. That's good. Ricky Rack says, if you have your own TV show, would you rather have the laugh track in the background or cartoon sound effects? I don't know. I guess it depends on what kind of show. In general, though, maybe the laugh track. I don't know. Depends on what the show is about, really. Brian Nussbaum says, how was it watching a newer episode of SpongeBob compared to the older seasons? You can definitely tell a difference. if you're referring to Salty Spittoon, it's not that bad as later seasons go. It's not that bad. I liked it okay. Perfect Angel, what are some of your favorite movie or TV character educators? Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World was good. Mr. Wright from Ned's is always good. I actually like Mrs. Puff too, despite her behavior in a couple of episodes, like Demolition Doofus was pretty bad, but most of the time she's all right. Let's see. Luke Smith, at least Cookie is more innocent than Ned's. Ned can be lazy. I don't know. I kind of disagree. Cookie lies. Cookie lies a lot. He even says that in a few episodes, almost like he's bragging about it. Hank the Tank says, Fred fan, Bob Pants, Sponge Square. Not sure what you mean. M3RK, hey Brandon, I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're having a good day too. Luke Smith, who is your least favorite Ned's Declassified staff member? So you got Dr. Xavier. I would have to go. I was going to say Principal Pal again. I'm conflicted on him because there are some times where he's really good, other times where he's not. I would have to say Principal. No, it's iTeacher. She's just kind of annoying, if you want to know the truth. She's all right. She helps Mose out from time to time, but I would have to go with iTeacher. I forgot about her. Let's keep on going, and then we're going to look at some video here, most of which you have not seen before. That's just a little bonus for being here. I'll show it in just a minute, as if I can get some more through some more chat messages. Wow. Okay. I'm going to try and go fast. JJ Zone, Principal Drake or Mr. Howard? Principal Drake. Shageta, I just had seafood. Sounds good. Waluigi, who's not funny? SpongeBob, Patrick, Mr. Krabs, or Squidward? Squidward's not that funny. He thinks he is. Hank the Tank, is this how you get your kicks, Brandon, from eating your own kind? That's one of my favorite lines. I forgot about that. That is from the show, the episode Ditchin'. And, oh, man, we might have to watch it. Is this how you have fun? By eating your own kind? It's just so good. We'll have to watch it. Harrison Smith, only seafood I like is sushi. Stardust, Principal Nussbaum, that's the same thing. Oh, no, he says Principal Gindrake or Principal Krubs. I think Krubs is a lot better than Gindrake was. Stardust Avenger says, sorry I'm late, sir. I have a note, though. That's good. Hank the Tank says, when do you plan on doing another gaming stream? I thought about doing that today. I have this brand new MacBook that I'm on. I just need to download some games. I have my Steam account on here. I just need to download and install some games, and we'll do it. Starting with Stanley Parable or something else. Let's see. Fred Fan. SpongeBob or Squidward, which one has a bigger nose? Probably Squidward, right? I think. Thank you, mods. Hensel Holst, if you were to go on leave, would you rather have Mr. Howard or Principal Moss take over the school? I'd have to go with Principal Moss. At least he will sort of try to enforce the rules, but he's pretty corrupt. Dogwood says Mrs. Knapp. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Dogwood is right. She's worse than iTeacher was. Turner Winstead says, I thought you said the Avatar reaction was next week. So if you read, you got to read the community post to kind of understand that stuff. But what I said was that there was a copyright issue that popped up today with My Little Pony Matter of Principles. So I had to delay it a week, and hopefully it'll be done, the copyright dispute, by then. But I went ahead and moved Avatar up a week, so it'll be this Saturday. Everybody will get it. If you're an honor roll member, you have it right now, and you can go watch it whenever you like. Harrison Smith says Korean, Mandarin, and Arabic all require knowledge of brushstrokes due to their connection to calligraphy. Yeah, if you're writing it, that's true. Harrison Smith says Japanese is somewhat easier in terms of pronunciation. Yes. So I had to make a decision a few years ago when I started learning some Mandarin either Korean or Japanese or Mandarin. I had to choose. So the advantage to Japanese and Korean is they're far easier to pronounce, but the grammar is much, much more difficult. In Mandarin, Chinese, the grammar is super easy. It's actually similar in structure to English, but the pronunciation is really difficult because of the tones that you have to use. If you use the wrong tone, it changes the entire word, so you really have to be careful. Okay, Fred Fan, have you reacted to SpongeBob Jellyfish Jam? I have not. The Rec Fan is here, channel member. Henry Sullivan, channel member, says, I like both raw and cooked sushi. I'm not a fan of the raw, but I like the cooked. Sarah Martinez says, hey, Principal Brandon, have you ever watched Samurai Jack? I have not. Ash Chews Cardboard says, Turner, he moved it up because, he's explaining in My Little Pony. Hank the Tank says, Samurai Jack is awesome. There definitely needs to be more reactions. Hank the Tank says, Ed, and Eddie might be a good choice. Mr. ASAP says, despite his name being Squidward, he's actually an octopus, not a squid. Good point. Alex Gillis says, could you imagine having someone like Miss Ackerman working at the school? You know, I've had a few people that haven't been far off. Some people have asked, have I ever had people do stuff like she did? And not quite to the extent that she did, but I've had people emotionally upset at school about things having nothing to do with school. And in most of those cases, I would offer to help, talk to them. I can't really provide counseling, but just to listen to them, really. But also sometimes I just said, why don't you go home, take care of yourself. I'll give you the time off, but go home and take care of yourself and then come back. Dogwood says, I lost it. Hold on. Dogwood says, +1 for 90s Goosebumps for Halloween. Salty06 says, the SpongeBob episodes from the newest season can't help themselves when it comes to shamelessly referencing old episodes. Ricky Rack says, if you have an opportunity to react to any movies or shows that are not family-friendly, what would it be? I don't really know, and we've talked about this in the Discord. I'm just not going to be able to do that. I don't know if I would want to, honestly. I'm not fond of profanity and other things. I'm just not. Luke Smith says, oh, yeah, Arabic. I looked at some Arabic writing, was like, how can they read this stuff? Yeah, indeed. And I think the spoken language is pretty hard, too. Turner Winstead, have you ever heard of The Masked Singer? I have. Harrison Smith says, Cookie seems proud of lying. Yeah, he does. Deadshot Dave says, will you do more of My Hero Academia? Yes, I really need to. I forgot about MHA. Yes, that was the one anime that I kind of enjoyed. So I've taken a look at Naruto, which I just wasn't a fan of it. I'm not saying it's a bad show. It just wasn't for me. Same thing. Spy Family was pretty good. I liked Spy Family all right. Dragon Ball Z, that was okay. I didn't enjoy it that much. One Piece, which everybody seems to love, I just didn't like it. What else have I done? Yu Yu Hakusho was pretty good. But My Hero Academia I actually enjoyed that one. I don't know if I can do all the episodes because some people have told me that certain ones are not clean enough probably. But the two that I did, check them out if you haven't seen them. I believe they're public. Those were pretty good. I enjoyed it. Harrison Smith, Ned is just lazy. Deadshot Dave, also How You Doing Brandon. Brian Nussbaum, Good Will Hunting. It is on the list, but not a lot of people have mentioned it. Fred's Fan explains the plan of how to give Patrick his Valentine's gifts in a manly voice. Yep. Goldly Gamer, channel member. Hello, School Principal Reacts. Nice to see you. Ricky Rack says you should have a compilation when Cookie lies. Yeah. What happens is just certain episodes he lies really, really badly, really grievously. And then in recent episodes that I've looked at, he almost brags about it. He talks about it like it's a good thing. Video Master says, do you think AI is good or bad for school? I think it's good for school. I think that when AI first came out, we didn't really know how to deal with that, and kids really quickly opted to cheat on stuff using it. And then people started to figure out how to detect whether AI had been used. And then more importantly, teachers would start to give assignments that AI wasn't really going to help them because it's not just about getting correct answers. It's knowing how to think, how to write. And when it comes to writing, students are going to have to write things like right in front of the teacher, and they aren't going to be able to use AI. So it's going to be very evident. And it was even in the beginning when students that could like barely write anything correctly would suddenly turn in like a college level paper. It's pretty obvious what they had done. Ash Juice Cardboard says, what about the screaming librarian? Yeah, she was pretty bad. She wasn't as bad as iTeacher or Mrs. Nat, but I wasn't crazy about her. Hank the Tank says, Goosebumps is a great show. Mr. Knuckles says, what did you have for lunch today? What did I have for lunch? It's funny. I've kind of trained myself over the years to not eat lunch. My body just doesn't want it because when you're a principal, you really don't get the chance to do that. It's tough I've seen principals do this, but it's tough to just say, okay, everybody, don't bother me for 30 minutes. I'm just going to go have lunch and I'm going to be unavailable for 30 minutes. Like if something serious happens, it doesn't matter. Like you can't just eat lunch while something crazy is happening. So I think I ate a meat stick or something. I had a little beef stick or something. I just had a snack and then ate when I got off work. And then I ate before work. I ate breakfast before and after, really. That's what I usually do. Let's see. Luke Smith, I can't be the only one who believes the job market is terrible right now. Yeah, and it depends on what country you're in, and if you're in the U.S., what part of the country you're in, what industry you're in. Even when the economy is doing badly, there's some jobs that are doing just fine, and vice versa. So it really depends on what you're talking about. Harrison Smith says Goosebumps and The Nightmare Room were great. Hank the Tank says Bikini Bottom Police are the best. Yeah, yes, they are. I don't know if they're the best at doing their jobs, but they are the best. Luke Smith says you should also react to The Loud House. Sarah Martinez says, hey, Principal Brandon, have you ever watched Has Been Hotel? I have not. JJ Zone says Dairy Queen or Sonic. Man, they're both pretty good. They're both pretty good. But here's the thing. If you order Dairy Queen, you're going to get your food. If you order from Sonic, who's to say? I mean, maybe you will, maybe you haven't. I've been to some Sonics where I did get it pretty fast, but I was watching, I'm a fan of Queso, the streamer, if you know him. And he said one time if you go to Sonic, it takes 3 business days to get your food. And that's sort of what it feels like sometimes. So the food itself, I think they're about even. But with Dairy Queen, you're going to get it. You're going to at least get your food in a fairly timely manner. So I would say Dairy Queen. Anir Venkataraman could you react to The Loud House as well? Sorry if I messed up your name, by the way. I can. That's coming up on the list. I recently did Fillmore. So the other day, there have been a lot of comments asking for that and asking for Fillmore. I did do the pilot episode yesterday. It's called Stainless, I think. No. That's the name of the person who was graffitiing up the bathroom. It was called Tamar Astal, meaning to write on it. So I did do Fillmore here recently. M3RK said, everyone requests some games for Brandon to play. Hank the Tank says, what did you think of the somewhat simplified and minimalist art style of Stanley Parable? Yeah, I like Stanley Parable. I'm going to play some more. And believe it or not, there were a couple of devs that gave me access to their games for free. A couple of school-related games. Now, honestly, I did ask them for that because a few of you all asked for it. I think it was like academia or school. I forgot, honestly, what it was, but I'll have to come back to it. Somebody's putting a lot of hearts out there. Let's see. I'm not complaining, though. Kaimani Burrell with a $2 donation. Kaimani is a legend on this channel. There are a few legends, but he's a legend. If you like Avatar, The Last Airbender, anybody in here, you can basically thank him for that. You have Bitter Work, which channel members have access to now, and everybody else will get it on Saturday. And I also did a reaction to Sokka's Master, I think it was called. It's currently being edited. Kaimani, hope you're doing well today. Oh my goodness, I'm so far behind. And by the way, I'm still going to go to, I'm still going to go to this at some point, and I'm going to show you some editing. Okay, I may have to just stop with the reading because I'm far behind. All right, where was I at? My chat is not loading right. Okay. Finally got it. All right, got it. Harrison Smith says, yes, the job market has more people looking for jobs. Okay. H. Crayert, channel member, says Harrison somewhat is an understatement. Japanese is an absurdly easy. Yeah, Japanese is easy to pronounce. The grammar, though, is very difficult. Mandarin is the exact opposite. The grammar is extremely easy. The pronunciation is the difficult thing. Cappy says, have you thought of doing transcripts of episodes or movies to avoid the chances? I don't know if that would do it. I see a donation or a membership. Henry Sullivan joins the honor roll. I think he may have had hall pass, but he got the honor roll. And Midnight Kittens gifting some memberships. By the way, I did look into the question of gifting like a higher level membership. I asked some YouTube experts about that. Haven't gotten a response yet. So, in summation, we've got Kaimani, who donated $2. Thank you, Kaimani. We had Henry Sullivan, who purchased an honor roll membership. Now you've got a bunch of videos to watch that you can binge watch. And Midnight Kitten gifted 5 hall pass memberships. Those were randomly selected, which I think is cool. They went to JJ Zone, The Business House, Jackie Daytona, Real Human Commenter, Gabriel Hunt, and Tyler Bryant all received a gifted membership from Midnight Kitten 17. Thank you, all 3 of you. I really appreciate the support. I'm going to scroll back up and try and pick up where I left off. Brian Nussbaum, is it a potential firing for Gordy to have a demolition detonator? Probably should be. I think it was, and as a matter of fact, maybe. Waluigi, I watch all your videos. I'm a huge fan. I appreciate it. Fred's fan plays the sound effect of Squidward playing clarinet 100 times. Cappy says, Hank the Tank, it's crazy that stilted frames wouldn't make much of a difference. Mary Robert says, have you seen the SpongeBob episode Drive Thru? I have not. M3RK, have you ever had a teacher at the school have an outburst, whether it be in the middle of a class or during the day? Yes, unfortunately I have. Fred Fan says, SpongeBob, you're 2 seconds late for work. Yeah. Goldly Gamer, channel member, ever wonder if any female managers were, when Krabs says to SpongeBob to be a manager, you have to be a man? I don't know. I don't think they have that going on at the Krusty Krab. Brian Nussbaum says there's a Disney Channel show called Ant Farm. Okay. And Ash Chews Cardboard says it's clean. Hank the Tank says MHA is great. You should hop back on that. I agree. I think I'm going to have to. Unfortunately, it didn't get a ton of views either, but that could always change. Ricky Rax, do you like Demon Slayer? I know what it is. I don't know. I've never actually seen an episode, but I know what it looks like. I know what the main character looks like. I'm vaguely familiar with it. James says, I've noticed in your SpongeBob videos you often get grossed out. What do you say? Would you say you have a low tolerance for grossness? I guess. I don't know if I do. It's almost like I get grossed out on videos easier than I would in real life. I don't know. Maybe I do get grossed out easy. It's almost, people almost like it because they think it's funny if I get grossed out. It's real, though. I don't do that just, to create a moment in a video. Okay. Sarah Martinez, have you ever watched Monsters, Inc.? I think I have. I've watched parts of it, but it was like not that long after it came out, and so I know what the main characters look like, and I know they're supposed to like scare people, and that's it. That's all I know about it. Okay. H. Crayer, what is the most beautiful sounding language in your opinion? See, that depends on your cultural background and what language you speak as far as being a beautiful language. And I'm sort of biased. I like Spanish. It does have, I do like the way it sounds, but I do speak it. As far as beautiful languages, I don't really know. It's sort of hard to say. You can say a language is easy, hard. You know, I don't know. I don't know what language sounds the most beautiful. I'm sort of biased when it comes to Spanish. Luke Smith says, is Gordy one of your favorite characters besides the potential firings? His heart's in the right place, but he's really not, just because he crosses the line. Like, he doesn't even know where the line is. He's always over the line in terms of his behavior. Brian Nussbaum, Cookie says, I know a lot about girls. Yeah, that's his other thing too, lying and saying stuff like that. It's not a great character when you really think about it. Turner Winstead says, don't judge me for this, but you considered school scenes to Peppa Pig. Actually, I have. I don't know how many views it would get, but I may try that at some point. JJ Zone, suggestion, Karate Kid 2010 version. Maruko, try, and there's another donation. I'm going to skip right down to it. Danny Garcia, 14MC, channel member, been a channel member for quite some time, donated almost $10. I really appreciate it. I'm going to read her comment next. She says, hi, Brandon. It's been 5 years since graduated from high school, and I haven't went back to a visit or don't know if I'm allowed to go back and visit my former high school if it's possible to visit. So here's the thing about that. A lot of times at schools I've been at, what tends to happen is when the school year starts, like in the first month or two, which I guess we're still in now, people that graduated the previous year will come back to visit, or they'll try to, and sometimes they'll just randomly show up. And it's sort of sad. I've had this happen a couple of times where I had to pretty much most people didn't do this, but some people would just walk in like they were a student and like try to go in classrooms and say hello. And I get it. I totally get it. However, what you have to realize is you're an adult now and you're not a student anymore. So unfortunately, we have to treat you like any other adult. And the way school safety is these days, you can't just walk in, right? It doesn't matter that you know all the teachers and you know all the students. You can't just walk in. You have to go through the proper procedure. So I've had a couple of people get upset with me in the past. Most people understood. And it's sort of ironic because when you're a senior in high school, it's like you want to be an adult, right? You don't want to be in school. You want to get out there and be treated, taken seriously and be an adult. And then you come back and it's like you want to be just let into the school, but now you're an adult. And so it's a weird dynamic. What I told people, even the people that got upset with me, is I said, look, we're glad you're here. We're happy to see you. But you have to do it the right way. Why don't you reach out to us via email and we can schedule a day for you to come in where the teachers know you're coming and can welcome you in. But if you just walk in class, like they're teaching a lesson, right? They can't just stop their entire class. Plus, there's the whole safety issue. Like you're over 18 now, you can't just let you in. So I think it's fine. And Danny Garcia, 14MC, I think that you can do it. There's ways to do it. I would just recommend you call the front office or go up there after you've reached out to someone, maybe via email, and say, hey, was there a day I could come? Or maybe, depending on the class, ask if you can talk to the class about how great your experience was, or advice, or college advice if you're in college. There's ways to do it. Thanks again for the $10 donation. And I also I missed it. Sorry about that. Acosta PMW donated 99 cents. I don't see a message here, but they donated 99 cents, and I appreciate every donation. All right, let me scroll back up to where I was. It's going to take me a minute. My goodness, I'm way behind. My goodness. Okay, here I am. Harrison Smith, do you think there are any topics that should be covered in high school but are not? What class would you add to high school if you could? More soft skills training. We try to do that as best we can, but soft skills. And if you don't know what that is, I can explain it. Lulu Vincent says, hot take, teacher is my favorite teacher. I like how quirky it is for her to just be in a screen. Yeah, it is sort of quirky. Mr. Assassin, I'm literally sitting in the back row of a movie right now, tuned in for a minute. I wish you a good day. Okay. All right. Somebody's sitting in a movie theater with us on here. Just try not to turn me up too loud so I disturb someone. Nicholas Alexander says, please react to Nickelodeon's Invader Zim. A few people have mentioned that, but not many. Ash Chews Cardboard says he has to go. Luke Smith says, why do the unhealthiest foods have to taste so good? That's true. Anarud says, you're a fan of Queso the streamer, but what about Queso the food? Yeah, definitely. Both are very good for different reasons. Hensel Holst, there's a streamer named Cheese. Yeah, it's actually, his name's Case, so it's like Caseoh is his actual handle. Midnight Kitten, as much as I love your reaction to the show, Has-Been Hotel is an adult anime. Well, in that case, I can't. Sarah Martinez says, hey, Principal Brandon, you watched regular show. Trust me, it's cool. All right. M3RK says, you should play Water Park Simulator. Yeah, because I'm watching Queso do it. It's been pretty funny if you're familiar with him playing it. Perfect Angel says, I can attest to the slowness of Sonic. I used to DoorDash and would have to wait 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah, they are slow. It's good, but it's slow. If you find a really good location, I guess it's good. Depends on the location. JJ Zone, Iwamoto or Akashi. I forgot who those are. Are those Yu Yu Hakusho? I don't know who those are. Sorry. Windy Indy, I completely forgot about Fillmore. So excited for your reaction. Hensel Holst, do you like Arby's? It's all right. I don't love it. I don't hate it. Midnight Kitten, would you ever play Super Mario World 1, the SNES? That is a good game. I love that game. I played it many times. Sure, if people wanted that. Neeksisti Newt, hello, school principal. I'm interested in investing, but I don't have a lot of money. You don't have to donate to the channel, but if you do, I do appreciate it in any amount. I appreciate any level of engagement, the commenters. I appreciate people just for watching, if you want to know the truth. So let's keep going. Luke Smith, honestly, French is the most beautiful language. Yeah, people say that. I don't know if it is or not. It definitely is distinct. It has a distinct pronunciation. Perfect Angel, I would love to see Principal play Oregon Trail Throwback. Yeah, I remember playing the original in the 90s as a student, actually, when it was all the rage. Still kind of is in some circles. Big Guys 45 says hello. Fred Fan says, would you rather work at the Krusty Krab or the Chum Bucket? Definitely the Krusty Krab. Mark Page says, Brandon, I'm having my comments somehow deleted by someone. Okay, well, you got to watch what you say. I don't know what else to say. Hensel Holtz says, please be me. The channel memberships. That's what that was. I already mentioned that. Thanks again, Midnight Kitten. I'm way behind. Sorry. I'm way up there on the chat. Harrison Smith. Brandon playing the Oregon Trail would be nice. Big Guys 45. Favorite classical or electronic musicians? I like me some Chopin as far as his stuff. I also like brass quintets are good. And then no specific artists, though. Jeremiah Norris says, good evening. Local Nomad says, let's see the editing. Indeed, let's see the editing. I've yapped for long enough. So I will come back to the chat. So I want to try to read. So I left off where Acosta PNW donated 99 cents. So here's what I wanted to show you, okay? So we're going to look at 3 videos. So all 3 of them, I believe, are Ned's Declassified. Let me move my windows around. Okay, that's good. And I want to move this. Oh, nope. You can tell I really know what I'm doing here. Not really. Okay, so this is the old way, okay? Some of my Ned's videos... no, I'm wrong. That's the wrong video. Oh, no. No. Yeah, this is what I wanted. So this is kind of the old way of me editing. I'd still do some of my own edits. And if I'm editing my own video, which is less common these days, but if I'm doing it, it's going to look like this, right? Yep.
Life is great! Everyone, transferring into our class is Markdowner.
Yeah.
Life stinks.
Oh, no. So if you see what I'm talking about, I'm really just trying to highlight the way it looks. You've got me over on one side. You've got the video. That's pretty much it. If there's a potential firing, which this is a preview of positives and negatives. Oh, here's one. Here's one. Yeah, I had a potential firing here for Dr. Xavier. What is going on? What is going on? This is a potential firing for Dr. Xavier. Yeah, and that's a little sneak peek for you. So you can see what a potential firing looks like in my old style of editing, okay? Then I got some new editors, and they did this. And I know you guys aren't a fan of some aspects of this, including the circle. It could.
Oh, just sell me the chocolate bar.
No, I don't sell to friends.
Yeah. Some of you all said that you did like some of the transitions, that you didn't like the little circle that I'm in here, but you liked like this transition here. Clicked on a random spot in this episode, and I see Ned and Cookie fundraise classified school survival guide, or my reaction to it. This one is called fundraising. So they have some little visual effects that that are pretty good. I need to move myself over here. Now you can see me. So it has some other visual effects, and when they had the potential firing, they like, where was it? Where they bring Durga out of the, oh yeah, this thing. But it had this super annoying buzzer in there that I wanted them to take out. Yeah, her throwing him like that, probably a potential firing. Now, would she be fired for that? Yeah, the buzzer is kind of annoying, but I want to see what you all think of doing it that way, or do you just like the simple little text? Now, Monday night, we had a stream, and I gave them all of your feedback. I gave them your feedback, and I got a new edit back today, which is this. Let's see. So you can see kind of what they did. They did sort of a compromise. They had, let me move the chat out of the way just for a minute. They made the video bigger, and they took me out of the circle and put me over here on the side. Here's what it looks like. This is the episode called, what's it called? Making New Friends. I think that's what it's called. Looks like this. I don't know exactly what part of that Ned is going to be interested in. That's a little strange, but let's keep going.
Guys get manicures all the time.
Then ask Feynman.
He's got a big soccer practice tonight. Did you know he's like some big soccer prodigy in Brazil?
Yeah, and on this one, let's see, were there potential firings? I wonder what they did. I haven't even seen this yet. Potential firings. I think there's one toward the end, maybe. On it. Oh, okay, here we go. So it looks like they did the same thing visually, but let's see what sound they used. I have not heard this yet. Oh man.
So.
Yeah, that's a potential firing. I mean, knocking her over. If it was just a simple accident. Did y'all hear that? That's not exactly what I had hoped for. Let's hear that again. Oh, man.
So.
Yeah, that's a potential firing. I mean, knocking her over. If it was just a simple... It's just sort of anticlimactic. All right. So I'm going to go back to the chat now that I've shown you that. I'm going to move myself back over and see what you guys are saying. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down to the very bottom and... look at where you guys start talking about the editing. All right, I want to get your comments. Y'all are talking about the episode. Hold on. All right, so here's the comments. Salty06 says, the circle is the biggest problem I have to the new style. Hank the Tank says, keep the transition, the rest can go. Game Bouncer says, I didn't mind the new editing style. The problem is all the logos should be up top. Okay. Salty06, the buzzer can go. Hank the Tank says, fair compromise. Jay Medley says, oh yeah. Super Poe says, amazing. W Principal. Hank the Tank says, potential firing, where art thou? Roger Zachary says, that compromise looks better. Hank the Tank says, that's great, like a bicycle bell. Jay Medley says, I love it. Luke Smith, okay. Salty6 says, that was pretty funny. Game Bouncer says, the video does not look stretched. Something about the Ned's logo bothers me. Can we keep the original ding? Yeah, I like the original ding better. I don't know where they got this little whatever it was. The Rec Fan says, I like the pictures of the characters with the potential firings. Jeremiah Norris says, ding. M3RK laughed. Hensel Holst says, I like the old style and the buzzer. Midnight Kitten says, I liked it better than the buzzer, but yes, too soft sound. Key says he just got off work. Mr. Junior's here. He says, I think the old ding was better. J Zone says, the ding is meh. I like the new format better. M3RK, I love the visuals for the potential firing, but what was the ding? Hank the Tank, I guess keep the OG ding. Nickel of Nostalgia, I hope you've inspired some more people to become principals or counselors. Yeah, maybe. Okay. So I think I got it. What I will tell them is that we like the visual transitions, I feel like are pretty good, and they can still do the little visual potential firing, but we got to change that sound effect. Let me know also what you think about a lot of people did not like, let me bring it back. A lot of people did not like the circle here, if you can see that. But they changed it. They don't have it quite as wide as this, but it's like that. I'm interested in how does this look? Does it look okay? Do I need to change it some more? I'm making some pretty weird faces here. That's a surprised face. Let me know what you think on that. I'm going to go back and read a few more chat messages that I missed. Okay. All right. And now you can see me dealing with my own chat here. All right. So I'm going to skip back up. I can't even skip back up anymore. It won't let me. Oh, yes, it will. So I'm going to read just some of the older chats. If you're a channel member, I'll probably at least do yours. All right. Game Bouncer, what are the world language requirements for your state? So it depends on if you're going to college or not. The requirements are a little different. World language courses are not required unless you are on like the college track, in which case you need 2 courses of a foreign language or world language. It can be any language you want, though. Let's see. Key says, channel member, iTeacher from Ned's Declassified does home teaching. Does something similar actually exist? Yeah, yes. So I guess theoretically, if she had a medical condition, they could allow her to do that. You saw that during the pandemic. During the COVID pandemic, you had a period of time where everybody was at home. And then you had another period where everybody was at school except people who had like serious medical conditions. There were a few teachers at the school I was at the time that were allowed to teach from home, just like iTeacher. It's kind of funny. She would have to have a reason that she could not come to school for her own health. But it would be super rare. Let's see. Game Bouncer says, I wish self-plagiarism didn't exist, but it does. Midnight Kitten says, I think Spanish is a beautiful language, though I cannot speak it. Henry Sullivan says, can you react to Darman? Sorry. I will eventually if it's clean enough. H. Crayert says, watch South Park, just kidding. I got to get down to close to where we were, and then I'll read all messages, not just channel members. Hank the Tank says, Arthur might be a perfect show to watch. Perfect Angel says, Monsters, Inc. has a sequel or prequel. Yeah, Monsters University. I plan to do that here coming up. Ricky Rack says, what's your favorite sound effect from Ned's Declassified? I kind of like when Cookie rolls up It has this little this little bass line. That's pretty good. Ricky Rax, if my schedule wasn't busy this quarter, I would be down to react to Monster University. Yeah, you're a college professor, so you could talk about it. Ross Bristow, what happened to the card shop game? I did enjoy that. I may go back to that at some point. Jay Medley says hi. JJ Zone says Chili's or Applebee's. Definitely Chili's. Perfect Angel says another fun one would be Disney shows Teacher Pet and Even Stevens. H. Crayert says regular shows, basically a cleaner version of The Simpsons. Okay. Hank the Tank French has a lot of je ne sais quoi. Yeah, you're right. Luke Smith says they brought Gumball back. You're right. Game Bouncer says do members. Positive and negatives, the most unique episode. Yeah, that one was interesting. All right. Okay, and then there's your comments about the editing. So now I can go back to reading everybody's, I think. We've got 45 or so people here. All right. Y'all gave me all the feedback. I see the feedback. Trying to find my place here. Hold on. Okay, here I am. So I'm going to start with Mega Slim. Hi, I love the SpongeBob videos. That's my childhood, and I listen to your channel as like a podcast while at work. That makes the day go fast. Thanks for making them. I appreciate it. I really enjoy hearing how everybody watches my videos and in what way that they use it to relax or just for fun or while they eat a snack or whatever. Harrison Smith says the Neds logo appearing over you was a bit distracting. Game Bouncer says, so for the Neds logo, maybe put it next to the Principal Reacts logo. Okay. Mark Page says, again, remember this part from SpongeBob. Is this how you have fun by eating your own kind? Let me find that real quick. I'm going to find it. Principal Reacts Ditchin'. I'm searching for it on this window. You can't quite see it. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Here it is. It's paused at that very spot because I watched it for a laugh before.
Like you make me sick. Cuff him.
Okay, that was right after. All right, here we go. This is one of the best lines on SpongeBob. All right, here we go. You ready? This is just great. Okay, here we go. So here it is. This is one of my favorite lines. I don't know why.
I just well confess, Dale.
Hey, man, I haven't done nothing.
Oh, yeah? What have you got in there? Quasi-gummy, chewy candy fish. Is this how you have fun? By eating your own kind? Scum.
See how much I laughed?
Is this how you get fun? By eating your own kind?
Yeah, that was funny for sure. All right, so I'll get rid of that. I don't know why I liked that so much. I just did. Okay, so let's read some more. Harrison Smith says, I like the pictures with the firings. Hank the Tank says, the ratio for the camera is good. The transitions are good. Keep the original sound effect. Mr. Jr. says, yeah, the big pro is the visuals for sure. Jay Medley says, no, keep the sound. Hensel Holt says, I like the wide version. Mr. Bean Fan Disney 2005 says, hello, Principal. Game Bouncer, channel member, says, I like the compromise of you. Just move the logo above the video to the right of the Principal Reacts. Make it smaller, okay? Jay Medley says, I like the split version. Harrison Smith says, yes, the ratio of you and the show screen works. Midnight Kitten says, the visuals are better without the circle. Mr. Bean Fan says, I have a question. Have you reacted to Johnny Test yet? I have not. JJ Zone, I'm not a fan of the visuals. Miguel says, buenas noches, Director Brandon. Buenas noches. Gracias por hablarme en español. Mr. Jr. says, I did think the circle made things cramped. Luke Smith says, how historically inaccurate are Assassin's Creed games? I've never played them, so I don't know. Andrew Wookmere says, since we didn't get art class, would you ever possibly give us a quick summary on it? How Mr. Wright handled the media and the German art teacher. I'll have to rewatch it in order to do that. Victim of Fate said, "What's up, Mr. Dr. Professor Principal?" Hank the Tank says, "Agree with Game Bouncer." What did he say? He said about the logo. Got it. Makarov said, "What's your least favorite subject in school?" It was literature. I just wasn't as into it. I understand and appreciate it more now than I did as a student. Leon Corgi, new channel member, says, "Will you review Daria?" I don't know. If enough people ask for it, I will consider it. Nintendrovert says, "Would you quit being a principal if your channel ever blows up?" I had thought about that before. I don't know. It would have to be like really big for me to quit entirely. That's an interesting question. We'll just have to wait and see. Luke Smith says, "What is your least favorite episode of Ned's Declassified?" Definitely the Halloween episode. Harrison Smith says, "In California, UC required 2 years of language, while CSU required 3 years, but recommended 4. Okay. Mr. Bean Fan says, "Would you eventually do My Little Pony Equestria Girls?" Yes. A lot of people have asked for that. My chat just got really big. Hold on. I got to find my place. All right. Ricky Rack says, "I like it." Hank the Tank says, "Like that." Whenever Cookie goes gangsta is always funny. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. M3RK says, "I also watch Queso." Yep. Pretty funny stuff. Nintendrovert says, "I like the sad trumpet sound effect." Angel Likes Fandom says, "Hello." Victim of Fate says, "Would you be watching Pokemon for a solid 2 years if you start?" Oh, you're saying I would be watching for 2 years if I started from the beginning. Nintendrovert says, "Did you see where they're coming out with a collection of old Nickelodeon SNES games like Rocco's Modern Life, All Real Monsters?" I didn't know that, but that sounds cool. Light Blue Yoshi Fan says, "Hi." JJ Zone says, "Principal Duval or Principal Weems?" They're both good. I don't really know that much about Principal Weems other than that first episode. She did get S tier, so I guess I would have to go with her. I think she's the only one to get S tier, her and Mr. Wright. Victim of Fate says, "Ned LOL." Hank the Tank says, "In all its glory." Clayton Moore says, "What is your favorite subject other than music that's an elective class?" Main language are, okay, lists all the classes. A favorite subject other than music that's an elective class would be Spanish, probably. Makarov said, "Did you deal with bullying when you were younger?" Yeah, some level of bullying, not like really heavy duty, just, the same amount that most people probably did get, some teasing and stuff like that. I just sort of tried to ignore it. Hank the Tank says, "Cannibalism is a no-go." Victim of Fate says, "It's always a Dale, LOL." The Rec Fan says, "LOL, that's wild." Hank the Tank says, "The Bikini Bottom Chainsaw Massacre." Sarah Martinez says, "Hey, Principal Brandon, have you ever watched Kif the Squirrel?" I have not. Perfect Angel says, "I like the split version too, so I'll stick with that." H. Crayert says, I don't know what language that is. Mr. Bean Fan Disney says, "Have you heard the Spanish cartoon El Chavo Animado? I would recommend to watch the English dub of this since the show only has episodes Espanol, since it does have some school-related episodes." I don't know of that show. I would have to look it up. Stephen Turquoise is here. "I wanted to know you to know I had a good day at my job. Also, I finished my Wednesday Chick-fil-A and now on the way to bowling. Have fun." Perfect Angel said, "Have you ever watched or reacted to the PBS show Wishbone?" I have not. Angel Likes Fandom said, "I have a question. What do you do in your free time?" Well, lately, YouTube. So a lot when I'm not working. I am either streaming with you all or I am making content. I streamed Monday. Tuesday, I filmed 2 video reactions, and it's Wednesday, and I'm streaming again. So a lot of YouTube here lately. Victim of Fate says, "Jackie Chan Adventures." Not familiar with it. I know who Jackie Chan is. Harrison Smith says, "My least favorite was science or English, while favorite was history." Fidelis, "Have you ever been in Maryland?" I have been in Maryland before. Leon Corge, or more like through it, not so much in it. Leon Corgi says, have you ever had a situation where a teacher wanted to punish a student more than you did? Yes. Such as the student proved they were defending themselves. Yes, I have had that. There's a teacher that I used to work with that I sort of question their motives. It's almost like they wanted to just it's almost like they got pleasure out of punishing the student or giving them consequences. And I really had to question them on that. Now, don't get me wrong. If the student acts out or acted out, they did get consequences, but they took it too far, for sure. Neat 60, I don't know what that says. Newt. I'm going to call you Newt. Hello, principal. I'm sorry. I meant to say I'm interested in investing. Yeah, I got it. Harrison Smith says Jackie Chan Adventures was great and had some school scenes. Okay. Harrison Smith, do you think this is funny in a cosmic sort of way? Yes. Well, funny man, this is how, I'm not sure if I remember that one or not. Stephen Turquoise says, I can't wait till episode competition in 4 days. And what are you going to do when we're done with Ned's? That's my real question. A Nintendrovert, my local high school recently added esports a couple of years ago. I wish we had that sort of thing while I was in school. Does your school offer it? Yes. Well, I've worked at schools in the recent past that have had it. I've worked at schools that have not. I worked at one school that they were very, very, very successful. Let's just leave it at that. Very successful in the world of esports. One of the schools that I worked at. The Book of Dark says, have you ever heard of the YouTuber Mr. Terry? Yes, I have. I don't know if I'm a fan or not. I just don't love his style, but that's okay. That's perfectly all right. Yes, I do know Mr. Terry, or I know of him. Game Bouncer says, while each should learn at their own pace, there's only 1 year per grade, so it's not like you can lag behind and wait another year. It does make it tough when you get behind. Makarov says, I'm going camping in the Redwoods. Can't wait. That sounds cool. I have been there before. Victim of Fate says, would you rather live 3 years in space or with one other person of your choice? Okay, 3 years in space with one other person of your choice, 1 year in a submarine with two random people. I don't know. That's kind of a weird one. Maybe the submarine one? It doesn't say you can't. I don't know. That's tough. I think 3 years in space would be sort of hard on a person. I think even with the astronauts on the International Space Station, they only let them go up there. I didn't mean to do that. They only let them go up there for like a year. Okay, I've lost the chat. There it is. Okay. There we go. Let me find my place again. I'll read some more messages, and then we'll quit. We've been at this for how long? An hour and 13 minutes? Wow. Let's see. Where was I reading? JJ Zone. Would you ever watch the movie Wonder? I would be willing to, as long as it's clean. Hank the Tank. YouTube is Brandon's life now, for better or for worse. You might want to play Undertale one day. I know some of the music from Undertale. It's kind of stuck in my head. I've never actually played it. I've just seen other people play it. Jeremiah Norris. I wish there was more than one episode of Danny Phantom, to be honest. Ricky Rax. What's your favorite funny moment in Season 3 of Ned's? Favorite funny moment. There's a lot of them, so it's sort of tough. Favorite funny moment. Not an episode, but an individual moment. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch some episodes to figure that out. I can't come up with one at the moment. Hank the Tank. Sounds like a principal from Matilda. Perfect Angel. What's the strangest or most unique class you've ever seen at school? My high school had a history of rock and roll. Strangest or most unique class? Probably some of the broadcast classes that I had. I also taught at a school that had a fashion program and had fashion classes, believe it or not. And those are legit. It's just most schools don't have them. So that would probably be the most unique, a fashion class. Like the business side of it too, like merchandise. It was pretty interesting. Believe it or not, that does exist. It's just most schools don't have it. Where was I at? Stephen Turquoise. I wish that Adam had gotten more screen time and the more lines in Ned's. I would want to see how he would have been as a character. Mr. Junior says Jackie Chan Adventures was certainly a unique animated show. You can't tell whether you like it or not. Unique is one of those words people say when they don't want to say that they don't really like a thing, but they don't, they want to sort of express that without being rude, like the word interesting. But that may not be where he was going with that. Harrison Smith, my high school had an anime class. That's pretty cool. Leon Corgi, after Ned's There's Always Daria. Victim of Fate, so much nostalgia. Sarah Martinez, have you ever watched Danny Phantom? I don't think so. H. Crayert, have you ever stood on top of a moving car and then jumped from car to car while on the highway? No, I have not. Hank the Tank, that was from an episode of Plankton and Mr. Krabs Swap Bodies. Okay, I got you. Jeremiah Norris, my favorite subjects, I got a B on biology in high school. I like history. Okay. Sam Cook says, out of all the instruments that appear in a school band room, which ones are your favorites? I don't know. And it's sort of different, like favorite to listen to, favorite to play. I like low brass. I like French horn. I like saxophone. I also like percussion. I like them all. It's hard to pick a favorite. Stephen Turquoise, that's a good question. School principal reacts. I really hope you find a new series. Leon Corgi, what did you think of Mr. Mackey in South Park? Haven't watched South Park. I don't plan to. Stephen Turquoise says, I honestly will still support you even if we do not have Ned's because you're a fun reaction channel. I really appreciate it. Hank the Tank says, don't know if Brandon would survive that. True. Our Angel Likes Fandom says, has your school passed the no phones law in your school? Well, see, that's the thing. It's a law. It's a state law. And if you're a school receiving federal funding, which almost all schools are, you don't have a choice. You can't decide not to follow it. So Georgia, among many other states, recently passed a law that basically bans phones. In Georgia, it's called the Distraction-Free Education Act, and it only applies to kindergarten through 8th grade. I don't know any kindergartners who would be using cell phones in school. I'm sure that exists somewhere, but middle schoolers for sure, and it does ban them during the day. They're not supposed to have access to it. Hold on. I'm scrolling up. Well, you all can see it now. You see me playing with the chat here. Sometimes it loads too many messages at once, and I have to find my place again. Where was I? Okay. So, yes. Hank the Tank says, Brandon's a quality reactor no matter what he reacts to. Really appreciate the kind words. Stephen Turquoise says, I still love your SpongeBob and other reaction videos because you do a great job reacting to those shows and your commentary is great. Appreciate it. Jeremiah Norris says, Sarah Martinez, he only has one episode of that show. Makarov says, honestly, I would have thought your least favorite subject is art. No, I like it okay. I'm not good at it at all, but I like it because I appreciate looking and learning about other people's art. Sir Goth Nerd, the Smart Guy episode similar to Honor Council of Drake and Josh is called Trial and Error. If you want me to take a look at that, please put it in the comment section of one of my videos. Nintendrovert says, you talked about Mario World and Mario 64 being great games. Did you play, and I see the ones you said, Sunshine, Galaxy, or Odyssey? I did not. Oh, you mean the other Mario games. I've not played any of those, but I know what they are, though. Sir Goth Nerd, have you ever had a problem of a teacher or staff being too lenient like Simmons? Yes. In fact, that's sort of more common, especially in newer teachers. I remember being a new teacher and feeling like, I don't want to offend the student by getting on to them. You don't have to be mean, but you do have to enforce the rules. So, yes, I have definitely had that before. Jay Medley, did you ever read out students' names? Yes, I've done that several times. And I have a lot of pictures and video of me doing that very thing. If you looked hard enough, you could probably find it. But it's going to be tough to find. Yes, so A couple of times, or at least once, when I was an assistant principal, I did that. I did that a few times as an assistant principal, and the principal would like hand out the diplomas. And then where I was principal, I also called out the names, and the superintendent handed out the diplomas. It's different every place how they do it, but I've read names at graduation at least 5 or 6 or 7 times. It's really an exciting time. I enjoy doing it. It is sort of hard though, because that's the one time where you can't mess up a student's name. So what I will typically do is when we have graduation practice, I'll say each name in front of the students and get them to correct me if I mess it up, and then I'll write it down in a way that I can understand. It'll be completely wrong, but it'll be pronounced correctly phonetically. But even still at the ceremony, I think once or twice in those 6 or 7 times I did mess it up. But it's impossible it's nearly impossible to get it 100% correct. Especially if you're doing like hundreds of people, that's kind of tough. But yes, I've done it several times. All right, where am I in the chat? Where is it? And y'all see me trying to find it. That's too far up. Where was I at? Oh, here I am. Victim of Fate. Have you ever had a student like SpongeBob? Not quite like that, no. H. Crayert says Earthbound / Mother 2 and Mother 3 would be interesting games. JJ Zone says Principal Moss or Principal Warts. I'd have to go with Warts. Warts is still kind of bad, especially when he gives consequences, but he's not as corrupt as Moss is. Then Chindravert says Little Nightmares 2 would be a good Halloween game to play. It has a scary schoolhouse level. The game doesn't have swearing or anything, but it does have disturbing imagery. If it has disturbing imagery, I may not be able to play it. If you think it's disturbing, it probably is pretty disturbing, so I may not be able to do it. No offense. It's just that when somebody does bring it up like that, it usually is sort of out there. Victim of Fate says, one more thing. Sir Goth Nerd says, you should react to some Arthur episodes. And I'm finally almost to the end. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. It just loaded a whole bunch more. Y'all saw that, right? It loaded a whole bunch more at once. The Book of Dark. There are so many school teachers getting fired for celebrating Charlie Kirk's death and then complaining about it. Talk about lack of common sense. Yeah, here's the thing. Not even about Charlie Kirk. If you are an educator, in other words, if you're a teacher, if you're a paraprofessional, if you are a principal, if you're a superintendent, if you're anybody who has a teaching certificate, you are bound to your state's code of ethics. You can Google it if you want, Georgia Code of Ethics for Educators. You can find it pretty easily. If you violate that, you can get in some pretty bad trouble. And part of that is professionalism. You have to really be careful you're not saying things that are way, way over the top or sort of, there are certain lines you have to stay between. That doesn't mean you don't have First Amendment rights. You do. However, you have to make sure that you're being clear that your opinions are your own. I even have a little statement like that on my channel page. It says, these are my own opinions and they don't reflect any school district. And you really have to keep whatever you say separate. You can't talk about real people in real life, students certainly. You really have to be careful about that. And when it comes to the Charlie Kirk thing, it's the same thing. It's not because it's him or that you like him or you don't like him. It's because you really just have to be careful what you say online in general. Okay, enough about that. Let me go to Mr. Junior. He says he likes Jackie Chan Adventures, but some episodes get really crazy. He says Jackie Chan's uncle was the best character. Leon Corgi says, do you think you'd win Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Well, I have played that game twice on this channel during a live stream, so I may bring that back, or maybe I actually liked Who Wants to Be a Millionaire a little better. And if you're new to my streams, I might bring that back if you never played with us. It's been a long time, so maybe it's time to do that again. We can play Who Wants... I tell you what, next week we will do that. If I don't bring back Stanley Parable, we'll do that. Either maybe both. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? And it was really fun because I tried to make it really interactive, like you guys would be playing with me, helping answer the questions. So we'll do that again next week. So today is Wednesday. Probably, well, either Sunday or Monday again next week. We can definitely do that. Okay. Let's keep going. Wait a second. What's happening? All right. Where was I at? Oh no. Okay, here I am. Harrison Smith, Jackie Chan Adventures was great until season 5. Sir Goth Nerd, have you heard of 100 Things to Do Before High School? A lot of people have recommended that show. I plan to do it. Harrison Smith says Uncle was the best character. Makarov says, does your school have the RSP? Not sure what that is. Leon Corgi, one more thing. Rec Fan says the Ani Mask season was my favorite in Jackie Chan's Adventures. Key says, can you react to Kappa Mikey back in school? Sarah Martinez says, hey, Principal Brandon, what else did you ever watch or never watch? If you mean just me watching shows as a kid, so many of them. I don't know, what did I watch? Inspector Gadget, The Pinky and the Brain. Someone mentioned that the other day, and I remember that show. Rocco's Modern Life. As far as Nickelodeon shows, I watched that. I watched Legends of the Hidden Temple, Family Double Dare, Hey Dude. Somebody mentioned that the other day. There's a bunch of them. Let's see. Harrison Smith says, this is how we spray for bugs. Mr. Junior says, I did like that. Some Japanese myths got into the show. The Victim of Fate says, can you watch Super Friends? I have seen it before. Nintendrovert, I think phones should be turned off and in a book bag during class, but kids should be able to have them in case of an emergency. Yeah, a lot of schools do it that way. Victim of Fate says, what are some of your outdoor hobbies? I don't have any like really intense outdoor hobbies. Like I can't tell you that I go skydiving or snowboarding. Skydiving, what is that, like skydiving with a snowboard or like snowboarding with a parachute on your back? I don't think that would work real well, either one of them. But I just like walking. I just like going on walks. What else? Just being outside, just going out there. I used to get all into bushcraft. I would try to make stuff. Never really worked out too well. Perfect Angel says, smart guy is hilarious. Victim of Fate says, like and subscribe. Sarah Martinez says, have you ever played Mega Man? I've definitely played Mega Man. I've played mainly just the original ones. I think it was called, and help me out, Mr. Junior and others, like Rockman or something, the Japanese version, which was the original. I think it was called like Rockman or something, and then in the American version was Mega Man. But I played, I think, Mega Man 1 through 4 on the original Nintendo. Ricky Rack says, favorite superhero. Sir Goth Nerd says, if you were a teacher again, would you like having Franklin from iCarly? I would. He's a good principal. He got A tier. Paul S. says, hey, how are you? I'm doing great. Ricky Rack says, can you imagine if Ned's was filmed in 2020s? Yeah, it'd be a lot different. Sir Goth Nerd says, can you do Bring It On? I can do it if it's clean, and I don't know if it is or not. Leon Corgi, whoa. Okay, and we've got Kaimani Burrell gifted a school principal reacts membership. And Kaimani, I do thank you. I will try and find out if you weren't able to gift honor roll or whatever. I will figure out how to make it let you do that. And I'm checking right now, actually. Paul S. received the gift membership, and I'm looking on my phone. I can see it real time. Hall Pass. Yeah, it's Hall Pass. I'm going to try and see if if there's a way that YouTube will allow you to donate honor roll, because that's what some people were asking about. The Book of Dark donated $2 just now. Can you react to Modern Family? If it's clean, I would be happy to take a look. I would be happy to take a look. The Book of Dark, I appreciate your donation. I appreciate your other donations from Australia, I believe it is. I love all my international viewers. What time is it in Australia right now? What is it? It's like 10:30 in the morning. It's pretty crazy. So you're watching in the morning over there. Thank you for the donation, Book of Dark. I really appreciate your support. All right, I'm going to scroll up, and y'all can see me kind of doing this over on the left-hand side here. All right. Leon Corgi says, what's the secret to learning an entire class or 30 or 40 students' names day one? 40 students is an awful lot to have in one class. I'm not saying it never happens, but a lot of teachers do like icebreaker activities. So that's one way, or little name tents, they call them. It's where you fold a little piece of paper in half and then put it right in front of you on your desk. Some teachers will do that. Such a Turd says, you react to Soul, one of the best COVID movies ever. It's about a band teacher who goes on a journey of self-discovery and self-purpose. Okay. Ricky Rack says, I didn't get a phone until I was in high school. Same here, and I showed it to you on the cell phones episode of Ned's. It's one of those big clunky Nokias with the original Nokia's tune that you couldn't really do anything on it except for call. And you could send texts, but it took forever because each button, you could do like 4 different letters or numbers. And it cost 10 cents per text message, I think. Or sending or receiving. So if a random company sends you a text message, it's going to cost you 10 cents. But you didn't have the mass marketing that you have today via text message. Okay. H. Crayert, what if you decide against editing a video because you edited it in your dream and it felt too frustrated that... What? Okay, what if you decide against editing a video because you edited it in your dream and then felt too frustrated? Oh, okay, I see. It's really a time thing. It just takes time. And I've discovered I'm not going to be able to produce content and edit them all. I just won't be able to. Now, in the beginning, I edited all my videos, but I only did 1 a week to start out. Now I do 3 a week, plus live streams, plus sometimes additional little videos. It's a time thing. It's much easier for me to pay someone else to do it. Jeremiah Norris, I watched that episode recently because I'd watched the ones I missed. Let's see. I'm going to have to skip a few messages. I'm starting to get tired also. It's not quite the 2 hours mark. We're at the hour and a half mark. I'll go a little bit longer and then I'll probably have to stop. I'm going to have to skip around some. Sorry. Ricky Rack says music is still art. Samson Gao says, what are good qualities of Warts? He does enforce the rules. You have to give him that. He does maintain control of the school, unlike Principal Simmons on that one episode and other people. And he's not quite corrupt, I wouldn't say, but he's just way, way too harsh and mean. That's his problem. Hank the Tank, have you ever had experiences with students where it looks like they won't graduate, where they turn it around? Many times. Sergoth Nerd, do teachers have access to see if a student spent their time in juvenile detention? A lot of times, no. That stuff is very sensitive. The school will know that. The school administrators and the counselor will know that. But the teachers will not. And a lot of times, if you have a situation like that, I'll meet with the parents, with maybe the assistant principal or the counselor. Not that we want to judge them on that, but if they've demonstrated that they have issues with a particular behavior or a particular thing, we'll just meet with the parents just to say, look, we're here to support you, to make you successful, but let's talk about this. What can we do? We see what you've done in the past. Let's talk about how we can make you successful at our school. But they generally don't have access to it. If it's something that we think the teachers need to know, like what behaviors to watch out for, we will tell them that, but it's not to like judge them or anything like that. It's just we want the teachers to be aware if the students have an issue with a particular thing. Okay, Perfect Angel. Did any of the music classes you taught ever play at graduation? Yeah, I have done that before, but not very often. Sam Cook, what are some important considerations that schools have to keep in mind about how they announce the death of a student? Goodness. I don't know that I've had that happen. Thankfully, I've had a lot of people who've had relatives die, or former students that have passed. It's really a sensitive subject, and you do have to be really careful about how you disseminate that information. The key thing is making sure that that counselors or outside or internal counselors are available, and that you give students access to that if they need it. That's tough. Victim of Fate, can you share with us about a time you experienced deja vu? Nothing comes to mind, or I would share it. JJ Zone. I'm going to have to get up in a minute. JJ Zone, would you rather live with Miss Finster for 24 hours or Mr. Howard? Who is Miss Finster again? I think she was the other lady from iCarly. I don't think she was as bad as Mr. Howard was, but they were both pretty bad. Harrison Smith, you should play the British version, and I can do that. I remember when we played it some months ago together, which if you're new to the stream and you didn't do that with us, let me know if you'd like to play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or Smarter Than a Fifth Grader with us. I think you can play the other versions of it on the one that I have on Steam. Excuse me. Victim of Fate, play 100 or 100 Mexicanos dijeron, which means 100 Mexicans said. I don't know what that is, but that's what it means. Hensel Hulse says, yes, both game shows, please. Nintrinjavert says, a family-appropriate Halloween game you could play as Luigi's Mansion. Victim of Fate says, Overwatch. Ricky Rack says, have you ever had a student like Ned? Yeah, I have. Hank the Tank says, one day Brandon will be a millionaire, maybe next week. I don't think next week, but we'll see. I kind of doubt either one of those scenarios. Midnight Kitten says, I enjoyed those quiz game streams, but miss getting to participate live. We'll do it. We'll do it next week, maybe even twice next week. Or we can do maybe both games in one stream. We'll have to make that happen. Sir Goth Nerd says, have you seen the episode Bart Gets an F? Let's see. Have I seen it? See if it comes up. Yep.
To another high school principal.
You have any?
Yep. So there it is. Whoop. I can't control my windows. Yep, I have seen it. There it is. There's me reacting to it. It's on the early days of my channel. The audio's not great, but you can go back and see it. Okay, let's keep going. Go back to my chat here. I'm getting better at streaming. I'm still not great at it. Let's see. Sarah Martinez saying goodbye, if she's still here. Ross Bristow says, what's the last movie you saw in theaters? It was the Minecraft movie, actually, with Jack Black. I did see that in the theater. There's this theater not far from me that is very successful, but it has no signs. It's like a building that's blank. It has no signs on it. It doesn't say, movies, come see a movie. They don't have even the name of the theater. It's just like it looks like an abandoned warehouse or something, but it's a very successful movie theater. It's kind of weird. Let's see. Paul S., new channel member because he was gifted a membership by Kaimani, says, would you do any older shows like Saved by the Bell? Yes, I would. Harrison Smith says Oni is pronounced Oni. Okay, yep. Makarov says RSP stands for Resource Specialist Program. Victim of Fate. DuckTales was goated. DuckTales was goated. I remember being a little kid in either maybe kindergarten or first grade. And unfortunately, I had to go to a daycare center after school for a couple of years because my parent worked a job where she couldn't come pick me up right after school and she wasn't there at home. So I did daycare for a time. And at 4 p.m. every weekday, I would just wait for it. I think I had to stay there until like 5 until my parents got off work, but I would wait for it. I would wait for that theme. It's just so good. DuckTales is goated. H. Crayert, did you watch Dragon Ball as a kid? I had never seen or heard of Dragon Ball until I was an adult, if you can believe that. I just never got into anime. I don't even think I was ever even exposed to it until I was an adult. I had no idea what it even was. So no. Ricky Rax, no matter what, professionals in education should not make comments about other people in real life. Yeah, you have to be careful, like I was saying. Harrison Smith, skydiving, LOL, Brandon, new sport. Yeah. Perfect Angel, warning, Rocco's Modern Life can get a bit raunchy. Yeah, I've seen every single episode. In fact, I have somewhere, back in the early days of eBay, somebody was selling a copy of the entire series of Rocco's Modern Life, which I'm pretty sure didn't exist at that time. I'm pretty sure it may have been bootleg, but I didn't know the difference. And so I did buy it. I've got to find where that is. But you're right. It does get sort of gross sometimes. The Nick Sick Network, favorite band? I don't know that I have one. I don't listen to a lot of individual artists. Half the time, if I listen to something, I don't even know who it is. And nowadays, I listen to more YouTubers than I do music, if you can believe that. Mr. Junior, Inspector Gadget had such a great theme song. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. What do you think? There it is. I mean, come on. Come on. You can't beat that. I mean, you can't beat that. You cannot beat that. Yes, you're correct. All right, and I've lost the chat. There it is. Okay. Yeah, you can't beat that. All right. Let's see. Where was I at? Here it is. Mr. Junior's comment. Sir Goth Nerd, who would hate having on our teaching staff Principal Howard from iCarly? What? Who would you hate having on our teaching staff as active Principal Howard from iCarly or Sweeney from Ned's or Simmons? I would prefer Sweeney. He gets better in the later seasons, doesn't he? JJ Zones, what are your icks or pet peeves? I do think of those. I was driving around today and I'm like, I should do, I could make a video about this pet peeve or that pet peeve. Oh, man. And I don't want to, I could probably make a whole video on that. So pet peeves would be people. Sometimes I comment on other people's videos, especially if they're talking about education. And a lot of people on the internet are really angry because they had a bad experience with a school, and they always use the words government schools. We need to take all the government schools and shut them down because they're so evil. And there are some schools that are awful. I know that there are. I've seen them. I've dealt with them before. They're terrible. But that doesn't mean that every single school in the United States is awful because it's a government school. And what does that even mean? I never hear that term unless people are really, really mad. Public schools. I mean, that's what it is. It's a public school district. And yes, it's funded by the government, as in the Department of Education and property taxes, but it's the people who really decide what goes on because they elect the school board members who are in charge of the entire school district, including the superintendent, including all the principals. So these people get online and they talk about government schools and how they're so evil. I don't know that that's the case. I mean, the reality is people run public schools. They're human beings. They're teachers and they're principals, and they're just trying to do the best that they can in most cases. Now, not all the time. There are some that are horrible, that they're corrupt, and they're just awful. I've seen them for myself. Most of them are not, and they're just trying to do right by the students. But the people that get on there and just talk about how government schools are so awful, we need to close them all. And if the government, quote unquote, if the public school districts weren't able to fund the schools, there would not be many schools. It'd be like the old days 150 years ago, where before like 1900 or not long before that, if you didn't have money, you just didn't go to school at all. If you didn't pay for a private school, you just didn't go to school. You just didn't get an education. So I don't want to go back to that. I don't think public school is for everyone, but you have options. And people tend to get all upset and say stuff like that. So that's a pet peeve. And I have others, but I don't want to keep yapping. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's see. Where was I at in the chat? Sorry, I talked for too long. Okay, where was I? Hold on a minute. I'm not way up there, I know. Sorry, I will find it. Give me just a minute. All right, we did the Inspector Gadget thing, and then pet peeves. Okay, got it. Hensel Holst. I know this person who gives their kid a flip phone to take to school. The phone is used for emergencies. Yeah. Ricky Rax, do you like Family Feud? I do like Family Feud. Mr. Junior says, you're right. The Japanese name is Rockman, named after rock and roll. Yeah, it seems like I remember that now. Makarov says, I played a lot of Banjo-Kazooie. Paul S. says, thank you. Mr. Junior says, a lot of the Mega Man characters are named after the music terms in Japanese. Kaimani says, yeah, I do hope there's an update that'll let you gift higher levels. I did ask about that. So I'm a member of some other Discord servers for YouTubers. And I asked that question on there to some people who are going to know the answer. So if it's possible, I'll figure out a way to do it. But I don't know that it is. Surgoth Nerd. My parents told me about this popular 70s show about a group of kids and shared their teacher in an underfunded NYC school. Okay. Makarov says, do you think you could react to Malcolm in the Middle? Yes, probably. Hank the Tank says, Mega Man 2 is my favorite. Yeah, Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3, I think, were the best. Harrison Smith, Googled it. No, you cannot gift or donate higher tier memberships directly. YouTube membership gifting is limited to the lowest price membership tier. Okay, well, there you go. Anthony Taylor, how many Principal Reacts do you think you might be interested in the Cuphead or Enchanted Portals? I know what Cuphead is. I don't know anything about what it's about. And I don't know about Enchanted Portals. Hank the Tank is enjoying me saying that person's name over and over again. Surgoth Nerd says, if you want some international shows for your international viewers, there's Mr. D, Mr. Young, and Degrassi. Anthony Taylor, if you like first-person shooter games. Victim of Fate says, I'm guessing Tenacious D is off the table. Yeah. John Bernal says, have you heard of a show called My Gym Partner's a Monkey? I've not. Leon Corgi says, watch Degrassi with Drake's son, LOL. Harrison Smith, YouTube members also capped a certain amount of money, YouTube membership. Perfect Angel, I definitely second Soul. Surgoth Nerd says, bring it all that is clean along with She All That. I think you meant Bring It On. Jeremiah Norris, I didn't feel I was prepared for college because in high school I had 9th grade math, 10th grade basic algebra, and 11th grade consumer math. Yeah, and in Georgia you have to take, every single student, believe it or not, has to take Algebra 1, Geometry, and then Algebra 2, a.k.a. Advanced Algebra. You have to have at least those to graduate. You can also usually take pre-calculus or trigonometry along with calculus, along with other things, but they're not required. Okay. Hank the Tank says that I'm on the ropes or exhausted. Not quite, but it's getting there. You know what's funny? I don't plan how long these go, but it's always like 2 hours is when I get tired. And we're at like an hour and 50 minutes, so I'm getting close. It's always right at 2 hours. I don't do that on purpose at all. Hank, Mr. Jr., Mega Man 2 and 3 are probably my favorite. I agree. Oh, man. Yes. Some of them are just too good. And there's a video of me playing some Mega Man songs, I think, on the channel. Let's see. Like the Metal Man. Was it the Metal Man? Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was it. All right, and then let's see. I'm not going to be able to find it. Let's see. I'm looking for the one that I did. No, I don't want that. I'm not going to be able to find it, am I? I'm not going to waste time looking for it, but it does exist. Okay. Let's go back to the chat. There it is. Yeah, Mega Man's got some good songs for sure. The original. Last movie I saw in the theater was, what'd I say? Minecraft. Harrison Smith, high school does not really prepare you for math in college. It depends. It depends on what you're taking. And it depends on how much math your college program requires. I kind of went the opposite direction. I took all the way through AP Calculus in high school. I did not need to do that because when I got to college as a music major, I only needed one class, and it was super easy. I didn't even go to class unless there was a test. It was that easy. Because I had just had AP Calculus, and what I was taking was akin to maybe Algebra 1. I just didn't need to do that. But I got caught up in this thing where it was like if you didn't take the most advanced classes, you were a loser. Was kind of the atmosphere at my school, so don't get wrapped up into that. It's not true. Just take what you need, and that's it. Let's see. Where am I in the chat? Perfect Angel. Arthur has a few music-related episodes. Mr. Jr. says they actually have one of the tunes from Mega Man for one of the karaoke machines. That's pretty cool. With lyrics. That sounds good. Kaimani, how would you create your own series or movie? Talk about characters that be included. How would you create your own series? I don't know. Harrison Smith, Finster from Recess. Oh, yeah, Finster from Recess. So you asked about Finster or Mr. Howard. I guess Miss Finster. They're both pretty bad, though. Hank the Tank is asking if I've to share a time where I've had deja vu right now, in fact. Sir Goth, so you're going to do a Kahoot. Ooh, we could do a Kahoot. That would be cool. We could do a Kahoot. There's a lot of possibilities. There's a bunch of those type things. There's also GimKit and other things where you can like play a little game together. That's interesting. But I may probably have to buy a license for that. I'll have to check. That would be good, actually. Nintendrovert, the game show games are a fun time, but I'd rather see you stream Battle for Bikini Bottom. Oh, I cannot sit here for too much longer. Hank the Tank, I'm glad you're streaming more regularly. I could tell you're enjoying the early streams. Yeah. Yep. Playing Kahoot in this live chat would be incredible. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. The only question is, like, what subject should we do? Hensel Holtz, did people go crazy when the chicken jockey scene happened? Yes. Harrison Smith, secret movie theater. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know how they do that. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? You go up to it and it's just like a blank building with no signs. I was blown away that there was a theater inside there. Hensel Holst, yes, I would love a live Kahoot stream. Hank the Tank, DuckTales was goated. Sir Goggles is here. Sir Goggles, glad you're here if you're still here. Kaimani says Kahoot would indeed be fun. Yeah, DuckTales was goated, and DuckTales had a great theme song too, didn't it? Let's see, is this it? No, that's not the OG one. Here's the one. Come on. Oh yeah. I think this is it. Oh yeah. I mean, it's just great. One thing I like to do, I don't know why I like to do this, but I will listen to like popular themes or Disney songs in other languages. So I listened to that one in German one time, and it's like, instead of Duckburg, it's like Bug der Duck. It's pretty funny. Anyway, let's keep going with the chat, and then we'll have to wrap up here in a minute. We're at 1 hour and 55 minutes. I don't know why. I always get tired after 2 hours in. Let's keep going. And Nirud says, do your students and staff watch your YouTube videos? I don't think most of them know about it because I don't talk about it. Because if you remember, you all were asking about social media. Well, I mean, this is YouTube. You do sort of have to be careful here too. And I think it's just the professional thing to do to keep that separate from your work, which I do that. H. Crayert, what would you do if you were forcibly locked in an inescapable room with Miss Trunchbull? I don't know. I would probably just be like, you stay on that side, I'll stay on this side. You don't bother me. Or I might try to talk some sense into her and help her see the error of her ways. Victim of Fate, I must watch DuckTales again. Hank the Tank, DuckTales, woo. Kaimani, what topic or subject would the Kahoot be on? Yeah, that's a good question. I'll have to think about it. Hank the Tank, everything Brandon has watched so far. Salty, a sea monster ate my ice cream. Victim of Fate says, only anime I was watching as a kid was Inuyasha. Yes, I know someone that likes Inuyasha. Nintintrovert, I watched a few episodes of the DuckTales reboot, but I never saw the original. I hear the NES game is great. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the DuckTales. I did play the original game. And one song that gets a lot of attention online, the Moon theme from that game, which sounds like this. If you've heard that before. Yep. So if you've heard that before, you know what I'm talking about. All right. I want my chat window back. No. There it is. All right. Okay, let's keep going. Brian Hicks, Rocco's Modern Life was a great show. It was a great show. Rocco, it's kind of like Arnold, like very measured, and all his friends are crazy, like Heifer and Filbert with the I'm nauseous. It's just a good show. Kind of a lot of comics. Just love it. Harrison Smith says, Victim of Fate, Sit Boy. Hank the Tank says, the DuckTales NES game is fun. Mr. Jr., I'm a big fan of the author. Victim of Fate, y'all my kind of people. Hank the Tank, Inspector Gadget. Yeah, I don't know if it'll cause copyright. I'm not worried about monetizing the stream so much. Perfect Angel says throwback. Jeremiah Norris, Capcom made some great Disney-based games, and you guys were singing along with the Inspector Gadget. Wasn't that great? I mean, you can't beat that. You can't. It goes hard, so to speak. In fact, I got to hear that again. I haven't heard that in years. Let's do it again. Here it is. Oh yeah, I don't have to. That's enough. I got it. I got what I needed. Okay. All right. Let's see. Midnight Kitten, channel member. The tune was a banger, though I'm quite partial to the Addams Family song, like the original, like the da 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 da, like that. Hank the Tank. Brandon could become a menace to society if he wanted to be. Victim of fate. I honestly can't remember the first time I watched SpongeBob. The first time I've watched it is not all that long before I started the channel, and I had only ever seen Band Geeks. That's the only one I'd ever seen. So when I react to all these episodes, it really is the first time that I have seen them. Okay. Am I getting toward the end? Maybe. No, I'm not. A bunch of chat messages just loaded. I'm going to have to quit in a minute. I'm going to have to. Not yet, though. I've got a few more minutes in me. And we're officially past 2 hours. All right. Favorite punk rock band, Ricky Rax. I don't really have one. The only experience I had with that, I don't know if I've told you my Warped Tour story. I think Ricky Rax, you were saying you went to Warped Tour, and I lived in Atlanta growing up, or the general area, which is massive. So in college, there was this group that I was a trombone player, and they wanted me to tour with them as part of their ska band, and they were doing Warped Tour and all these other festivals on the East Coast, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't just drop out of school for a semester. So that's really the only experience. I did end up going to the Warped Tour, but I didn't play or anything like that. And I didn't do anything iffy there. I just listened to the music. There's plenty of other stuff going on. So let's see what else. Ricky Rax. I remember the Inspector Gadget movie. Yep. I remember the music more than anything. Let's see. Salty. Do you like Nickelback? It's okay, I guess. I'm going to have to skip some messages because I'm getting tired here. Not really sleepy tired, but like tired of sitting in this one chair. Jeremiah Norris, how can you not have access to a library? Most small towns here in Georgia, at least, even the smallest of the small towns is going to have some kind of library. Now, I've seen some libraries that are super small, but I guess some places don't. Don't know. DeLuna Art Studios just left the middle of church once I got this notification. That's his thing. Dr. Nintendrovert, Dr. Wily's Castle. Yeah, that's a good one. I think that's it. It's so good. And then the bridge. I love that one. Nintendrovert, can you paint a blue arrow on your head? My friend, I don't see that happening. Kaimani Burrell, that would be fun times. I just don't see it happening. Let's see. The Book of Dark. I wish schools would teach students on how economics and investing works. Some do, believe it or not. Whoa. I just lost all my windows. Okay, there we go. I lost the chat. There it is. Some do, but some don't. Hank the Tank says, I was wrapped up in the AP mentality too. Yeah. If you're taking those classes for the wrong reasons, it doesn't really help you. Harrison Smith, my high school required economics to graduate. It's required here as well. I'm going to have to skip some. Perfect Angels, talking about Kahoot. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. I love the Kahoot music. You know what I'm talking about? The Kahoot music. Let's see. Is this it? Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Kahoot. And see, Kahoot, there's a lot of other ones that are in some ways better than Kahoot, but it was kind of the first one of its kind. And a lot of people still do use it. Okay. Let's see. Where am I at here? 12 power hungry productions. You should react to Glee. Nintendo Bert, I hope the person who was listening to you in the theater turned it down because you did before you did DuckTales and Inspector Gadget. Yeah. Yep. Yep says, what happened to your cool theme song on your YouTube homepage? I used to have an intro video for people who aren't subscribed. There was an AI-generated song all about Principal Reacts. I do still have the video, I believe. But, let's see. Can I pull it up? Let's see what happens if I move the screen over here temporarily. And then I'll have to find it. Yeah, I used to have a trailer, but some people told me that they didn't think that I should do it. All right, here it is, okay? Here it is. Let me know, should I put it back? Some people find it annoying when they go to channel pages, and I can't seem to do what I want. Okay, here we go. Here is the old channel trailer. It hasn't been up on the channel for some time. Here it is. Come join in. Watch me break it down with a grin. Movies and shows, cool scenes they bring. Laugh, learn, and see what they mean. I forgot this existed, honestly. React with me every week. Hit play, don't blink, don't sneak. Yeah, so it used to be that when you would go to my channel's page, if you weren't subscribed, you would see that. So I don't know if it was good or bad. I don't have a preference. If people found it annoying, some people find it annoying just to have any video that automatically plays. So I did end up taking it off. But I don't really have a preference. And it's funny. I'll have to play some for you someday. When I created that, there's a bunch of alternate versions in different styles of music that exist. Maybe I'll play that for you on. I don't have access to it. I don't have easy access to it. I'll have to bring it up for you guys. Because there's like a country song version and there's a rap song version. And some of the versions of them are like, ugh, that's just a little cringe, a little weird. And then some of them, a couple of them are like, yeah, that's pretty good. There's one country version that's not bad. And there's one like R&B version that isn't bad. The other ones are kind of not so great. Okay. Where am I at now? Did the Book of Dark just donate again? Is that new? That is new. The Book of Dark with the $2 donation. I really appreciate it. He says, could you react to regular shows as long as it's clean? I would be happy to react to it. A lot of people they've recommended a lot of these shows that I hear that one. I hear about The Loud House, Fillmore, which I recently did, Danny Phantom, a lot of them that I haven't really messed with yet. But yeah, I would be happy to as long as it's clean. Regular show. Book of Dark, thanks again for the contribution to the channel. It's starting to get late here. I'm going to read some other ones. Let's see what you guys thought of did y'all say anything about the song? Let's see. Hank the Tank says, gotta be honest, the old theme song made me cringe. Yeah, and I don't want cringing. Joseph Ross said, put it back. Yep says, maybe dial back the volume. Jay Medley says, bring it back. Hank the Tank says, don't bring it back. Sure Cashapin says nostalgic. Salty says AI slop. I don't think it's that bad. It's the kind of thing, let me put it this way, like I'm not a fan of AI videos, but something like that, like a song about Principal Reacts, that would be hard to reproduce without AI. I just think it's cool that you can actually do that and put it on any subject you want. There's a lot of AI videos where they're they're just shamelessly copying something, or they're just not putting much effort into it at all. Emery with the €1 donation. Emery is here. What time is it in Germany right now? It's probably very late. Let's see, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. It's probably like 3 to 4 to 5, 3 to 5 in the morning, Emery. I don't know what you're doing over there. Hopefully you'll be able to sleep at some point. 3:07. Okay. Yeah. Don't forget to sleep unless you're just unless you sleep during the day or something. Okay, thank you, Emery, for the €1 donation. I really appreciate it. We were saying, what was I saying about German earlier? I think I was talking about the German version of the DuckTales theme song. It was kind of interesting. Does that exist on here still? Is this it? See what you think, Emery. Yeah, this is it.
Turbulent wie Hurricane. Hier ist Dagobert Duck.
Yeah, hier ist Berg der Duck. A duck instead of here in Duckburg. I just thought that was funny. I don't know why. Yeah. It's funny. One of the great things, the many great things about YouTube is you can get just about anything in just about any language. Especially Disney. Disney does their own version of all their songs because they put their movies out in just about every country because they want to make money, right? So I'm also fascinated by, I'll put in a really popular Disney song and I'll do it in a different language, and then I'll turn on the subtitles, and you'll discover very quickly that they change the meaning of what it's saying in order to make it like go with the song and go with the music. Because if you literally translate something from one language to another, it's not going to rhyme, or the syllables aren't going to fit with the music anymore. So they have to change that, and in the process, they slightly change the meaning of the words. And so you might, if you listen to the German version of a song or the Mandarin or the Japanese version of a song, and you know it in English because you've watched the Disney movie 100 times, you'll notice that it means something a little bit different than I thought it did, or that you would expect. Okay. Let's see. Let me I may have to end here in a minute. I'm not going to be able to scroll back up and read all of those messages. But I was just reading you guys talk about the song. The Book of Dark. I see that you have to go, and I see that you donated $2 again. The Book of Dark, I really appreciate your support. If there's ever anything I can do for you, let me know. I don't know if you're a channel member or not. You're not a channel member. You may want to consider putting that towards a membership. But if you ever want to join us on Discord, just DM me on one of the Facebook or Instagram. Just DM me, and I'd be happy to hook you up on that. Thank you, The Book of Dark. I hope you have a great day over there in Australia. Emery with another €1 donation. Emery, I really appreciate it. I really have enjoyed, in being a YouTuber, communicating with all my international viewers, because if I comment on something that's happening in a show that it's a school environment, they'll say, you know, in Sweden we do it this way, or in Japan we do it that way, or in Italy we do it like this. And it's just super interesting to hear those perspectives. Okay. Let's see. Is there anything else here toward the end that I haven't read? Emery says Scrooge McDuck comic books. Oh, yes. Emery, you just jogged my memory. So in 2018, I went to Berlin. I was there for a week. It was pretty amazing. I went to a conference there. And I did buy some souvenirs, as you do. And I did buy this comic. I was buying it for someone else. And I bought a couple of these little comic books that they sold at the airport. And one of them was like Disney themed, and there was a lot of like Donald Duck and Scrooge in there. That is true. I do remember that. It's like a Disney comic book, of course, in German. That was a little souvenir. I forgot about that. Kaimani and Hank singing the Bruno song from whatever that movie is. I see it. I don't know the name. Yes. Okay. Patrickness. Hello, love your channel. JJ Zone. Has a teacher ever erased a grade like Iwamoto from Yu Yu Hakusho? Like illegally erasing grades? I've never been able to prove it. There's been a couple of times in my career where I've sort of suspected something going on with the grade book. But no, I don't think, nothing to that extent, certainly. Hank the Tank, Brandon might have to retire like Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy at this point. Encanto, yeah, Encanto was the Disney movie. Okay, well, we've reached the end of the chat, and I did have to skip some. Yes, I made it, Hank. The lag doesn't seem to be lagging too much. The stream doesn't seem to be lagging. All right, I'm getting tired. I'm going to have to end it here. Thank you to the donators. We had Kaimani Burrell with the gifting of memberships and a donation. We had Book of Dart with 2 donations. We had Emery with 2 donations. Or actually, Book of Dark was like 3. And then toward the beginning, we had MC... 13MC, I forgot their full name. It doesn't show it to me anymore. Like, you all see this. You all see part of my chat. Like, I can only scroll up so far in the chat. It doesn't let me scroll up to the very, very beginning of the whole entire stream. So I can't exactly see. But did Emery donate again? Emery donated again, I think. Another €1 donation. Einen Euro, right, Emery? Einen Euro. It took me so long to be able to pronounce that correctly. Euro. 2 Euro bitte. Stuff like that. Sorry. But Emery, thank you for the donations. Thank you to all the donators. I really, really appreciate it. Book of Dark, Kaimani especially. What are all these? Midnight Kitten says, good night all. Hensel Holtz says, yes, the donation wars have begun. Hope not. I mean, I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. Kaimani says, you don't have to react to it, but have you seen K-pop Demon Hunters? Wow. I know someone who very recently started watching K-pop Demon Hunters, and I happened to be in the room. Emery with another Euro. My goodness, Emery. You're going to keep me on here all night, aren't you? K-pop Demon Hunters, it was hard for me to take it seriously. Some of the music's not bad, honestly. And I was watching this person watch an episode the other day, and it was the one where they had the villain. They're like a K-pop group, but they're really like demons or whatever, and they were singing that Soda Pop song. I don't remember how it's Soda Pop. I almost started singing it. I don't remember how it goes. But I didn't like it too much. But anyway, I do know about K-pop Demon Hunters. It's like Soda Pop. I don't remember what it was. And then the Golden that everybody knows. I guess it was all right. Okay. Salty, Brandon's about to make $100. I don't think so, but it's a nice thought. Yeah, einen Euro. Yeah, I've said before, ich verstehe ein bisschen Deutsch, aber nur ein bisschen, which means I understand just a little German. And I know a few verbs and some numbers and some other phrases, and that's about it. And then I went to Germany, and everyone spoke English, and I didn't use German at all. Okay, I'm scrolling down. JJ Zone, K-pop Demon Hunters, watch. Hank the Tank, maybe Phoenix Wright. Jeremiah Norris, I'm an entertainer. I play guitar, sing, and yodel. Oh, yeah, Alejandro Gutierrez, you're my soda, pop my little soda. Yeah, it's something like that. I remember that. I personally found it a little annoying, but I didn't want to insult the people that were watching it in the room with me, so I tried to be quiet. Sir Cashpin, see you. Jay Medley, for next week episode, do the split screen. So the episodes that just got edited that I showed you are for weeks in advance. So you may see some going back and forth with the editing styles. Hank the Tank, yep. You know your K-pop. K-pop Demon Hunters, whatever it's called. Emery, but I can still understand. Your German is understandable to me. Yeah, and I just know just some phrases like I just mentioned, like, what else do I know how to say? Möchten Sie etwas essen oder etwas trinken? Little things like that. Möchten Sie etwas essen mit mir? Little questions that you might use in day-to-day life. Not much. Let's see. Switch to live chat. I thought I did do that. I had it. There was a different window. Sorry, there was a different window that I had the chat in earlier, and it was under live chat. But I don't know how much of a difference that makes. Kaimani says you'll soon go golden. Yeah, like the song. That one was all right, I guess. I didn't like the fact that it was kind of the same thing over and over again, but the melody was a little unique the way it skipped around. Key, better late than never. You can always watch it later. I think this is the longest one yet. We're at 2 hours and 21 minutes. Alejandro says English is an intergalactic language. Yeah, I think in Star Wars they called it Galactic Basic. It doesn't quite work that way in real life. Hank the Tank, that's a 50s song. I'm an old man in a young man's body. Emery, I love the accent. Yeah, I don't know what sort of accent I have when speaking German. Jeremiah, I don't know that much German. I know how to read Japanese and some words and some more other languages. I know about 5 languages. Wow, that's pretty impressive. It takes forever. It's just really time consuming. So English, obviously, is my native language. I know Spanish fluently, little German, a little Mandarin, and that's about it. And when I say a little, I mean a little. Kaimani says, did anyone else feel like the song Your Idol Lives Rent-Free in your head? Harrison Smith, Stargate, ever had anyone speak English, or had everyone speaking English? Hank the Tank, Brandon's back to reading messages. I'm going to quit. Hank the Tank has to hold me accountable for my streaming time. I'm going to leave in just a moment. Nintendrovert, if you had to use the bathroom in Germany, you can say Ein Haft. Yeah, I don't think that works. Mr. Junior, that was golden for me. JJ Zone, you should watch the Polar Express. Yeah, that might be good. Emery, Nintendrovert. Jeremiah, I failed 9th and 10th grade English. Kaimani says, yeah, number 1. Golden was number 1 for me. Then Idol, then How It's Done. Finally, What It Sounds Like. Okay, so he's a BTS. What's it called again? Demon Hunter? K-pop Demon Hunter. I almost said BTS Demon Hunter, but no, that's not right. Hank the Tank's telling me to go to my room, which I'm going to have to do. Ida Maharna, hi. Just don't spam. That's why they blocked your messages. Okay, I'm going to stop. Hank, I'm going to stop now. So I am going to stop. Thank you all for attending the stream, for participating, for donating, for all of it. Tomorrow I won't be streaming, but maybe I'll try to do a community post. And then Friday, of course, is SpongeBob. Saturday is now Avatar, The Last Airbender, thanks to Kaimani Burrell, Principal's Office channel member. I'm going to end the stream now, so I will say goodbye. I hope you all enjoyed the streaming. I'll try to put together a game stream next week, either Stanley Parable or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, so that if you weren't on those streams, you can play right along with us in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Bye. Good night, everybody. Thank you, Hank, and thank you, Salty, and thank you, all the mods, Miss T, Miss Sir Goggles, everybody else. Thank you for attending the stream, and I will see you next time on the stream or on my video. Have a great night, everybody. I've got to get going. Thanks for watching.